Surdex Steel is one of Australia's leading steel suppliers and processing companies. Based in Victoria, they operate 10 branches, including one right here in Geelong. Surdex Steel stocks more than 10,000 different steel products and offers one of the most extensive ranges of steel processing services. They also offer steel sales direct to the public as well as daily local delivery. Trade inquiries are also welcome. Located at 156 Waddell Road in North Geelong, they're open Monday to Friday from 7:30am to 4:30pm. Surdex Steel, we can handle all your steel requirements, no matter how big or small. Good evening and a very, very warm welcome to you wherever you may be, tuning into episode 56 of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It is going to be a massive one tonight, an absolutely huge one tonight, and bringing it or presenting it with me as he does week in, week out, my co-host, and he's Steve Curtin, joining me on the show tonight. Steve, how are you, my friend? It's been a massive weekend, and it's going to be an even bigger weekend next weekend.
Yeah, that's right, mate. It was a bit of a shock to the system with a few things on the weekend. One, the weather. Two,
I was going to say, yeah.
30 degrees one week, freezing the next. No, a lot of fixtures took place on the weekend after there was no NPL and State League over the Easter weekend. So there was a lot to get your head around in terms of results over the weekend, and that's only going to be even more games taking place next weekend too. So we're going to be very, very busy, but it's a good situation to be in. How are you, mate?
I'm drained. It's the start of the week, and as you say, I'm drained. I'm still thawing out from Saturday afternoon's drama at Elco Park, where Craig Filer and myself were calling the North Geelong Warriors Werribee City game for NPL Victoria. The live stream, it was freezing, as you said, mate. You know you're from Victoria, and if you're tuning, I said this on the broadcast on Saturday, but if you're tuning in from outside of Victoria, just understand all of our conversations start off talking about the weather because it has such a major impact, not just on how we're feeling, Steve, but I think on the outcome of games like it did on the weekend. But that was incredibly cold and windy and what you're not. But mate, I tell you what, this week is going to be huge for obviously it's the community leagues kick off, the local Geelong Region leagues kick off. We've got the State League women's kicking off as well. The junior leagues around the region are kicking off. It's massive, but we'll be focusing a fair bit on obviously the senior football later in the news desk coming up. But it's Surdex Steel sponsored show. Big shout out to Jason Van Beek. He's the manager out there in at the North Geelong branch of the Surdex Steel. All your steel requirements that you need, go see Jason. He'll take care of you. But Jason has nominated Geelong Rangers as the club that he would like to be featured in our Club in Focus. So, mate, who are we going to be speaking to tonight from the Geelong Rangers?
Yeah, looking forward to talking all things Geelong Rangers tonight. So we've got first up at 7:25. Don't go anywhere. We're going to speak to their sponsorship and fundraising coordinator, Tim Santalucia. Then at 7:35, it is the men's senior assistant coach, Brad Ower, and that will be followed by the captains of the respective men's and women's sides from Myers Reserve, Connor Redan and Rachel Robertson. So looking forward to chatting to a whole range of people from out there. It's going to be great, isn't it?
Now, just on the captains, this is an incredible statistic, and I think it might be a world first. I think it's an actual. It's the first time that the senior men and the senior women have been captained by two siblings. So Rachel and Connor are brother and sister. So an incredible achievement there for the Redden siblings.
That'd make a good article in the Addy, I think, Tonch.
Wouldn't it? A real good human interest story. Now, speaking of the media, Steve, you're also moonlighting as a bit of a soccer correspondent for a brand new sporting show on 93.9 The Bay. So congratulations, mate. Well done on that. We're doing our little bit to promote the sport other than just the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast, or is it the vodcast? Would you call it the vodcast? I don't know. It's a visual podcast.
There's definitely a video component. You can see our faces, so I'll go
absolutely.
with that. Yeah, it's
Although
on YouTube.
I pine for the old days when it was just audio because
Same.
I don't like my face behind things. In fact, I'll just take myself off. There you go, Steve. You can take the limelight. But mate, tell us a bit more about the show and when does it air?
Yeah, so the show is The Sideline View with Kevin Hillier, and it is a show all about sports that are happening across the region every Saturday afternoon, and our segment about local football's on at about 2:30, which works out as a really good time with the traditional kickoff times of matches happening around 3 o'clock, and then some a little later in the evening, of course, at certain venues. So it's a good way to, get in there and talk a little bit about local football and promote people to get out to the games and promote people to watch your, the games with you and Craig commentating and stuff like that. So it's good.
Yeah. Now look, after I'd like to think that after last week's or 2 weeks ago, in fact, we didn't have a show last week because of Easter Monday, but 2 weeks ago when we had a little bit of a rant. Well, okay, I admit it. I had a bit of a rant about the lack of media coverage locally. It is great to see, firstly, on 93.9 The Bay. I still call it Bay FM. I can't get it out of my system that we've got at least some sort of a soccer or football involvement, if you like. But also good to see the Geelong Advertiser finally having some news articles. I know it's not what it used to be, but look, it's a start, and hopefully it will be the start of more things to come. So, in the last week, we've had Lara United Women, Corio Soccer Club, and 2 articles about the North Geelong NPL team as well featured. So, look, that's a start, and no doubt we'll be talking a little bit later on to Tim Santa Lucia about the importance of sponsorship and fundraising. And I guess, we're talking about clubs being brands, brand names in itself, and how best to go out and promote that, because it is a competitive time, that's for sure. Mate, we've also got some breaking news a little bit later on. Some very, very interesting news. It involves player movement from one club to another. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that news may have just been broken in the last, we're talking minutes. We're talking in the last few minutes. So we're going to step away. Steve, I'll let you veer off and get yourself ready, because we're going to now have the news desk very, very shortly, folks. Don't go away. It's episode 56 of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Tonight's show proudly brought to you by Surdex Steel, and it's all about the Geelong Rangers, as well as everything that has gone by, has happened over the week and just gone by. Don't go away, folks.
All right, good evening. Monday, the 12th of April, 2021, and we'll get started with the results from the weekend's NPL fixtures. And in NPL 2, North Geelong hosted Werribee City in a local derby and came up trumps 5-2, getting the ball rolling with an early goal. Anthony Banavart's looking pretty splendid as well in those gloves that he had on. As a man with pretty poor circulation myself, I was a fan of that. Also, Thomas Hiddich, Luka Jurkovic, and Jamie Nogler with a double there. And you were there in the best seats in the house there, Tonchi.
Oh no! I don't know about the best seats. We were protected from the elements somewhat. When I say somewhat, we were able to stay dry, or relatively dry. I think all my notes really, really suffered, and they got absolutely drenched. So you had to just kind of make do with what you could. But yeah, I remember making a mental note right at the early stages of the game and thinking, Anthony Banavart's, how soft are you, mate? You're wearing gloves, yeah? What's going on? But I tell you what, he was the smartest fella on the pitch, because as that wind picked up, it was a howling wind, and out at Elko Park, you really are not protected from the elements. Now, I know I think officially, or the referee actually put that down as a Morgan Filer goal, but it was definitely Anthony Banavart's in the first minute. Thomas Hiddich scored in the 11th minute, and then Luka Jurkovic, he's just a goal machine at the moment. He's only 18. The kid is superstar striker in the making. He scored North Geelong's third after 18 minutes. Then Jamie Nodler scored 2 second-half goals. And look, at one stage, Werribee City looked like they might come back. It was quite tense at one stage. Bilal Habib was the dual goal scorer for the visitors, and I think the score was 3-2 or 4-2 at one stage. I can't remember. But yeah, look, North Geelong in the end just totally outclassed Werribee City, and they remain unbeaten, I guess. A win and 2 draws from their first 3 games. We've got and then a little bit later on, Geelong. Well, they did a great job at home against Box Hill United, Steve.
Yeah, really, really good result for Geelong. I wasn't sure how this one would pan out. The two teams seemed fairly evenly matched, Geelong with the home ground advantage. They went behind very early, and then they were 3-1 up within 21 minutes with goals from Anthony Trzaskowski, Dom Swinton, and Jake Butler. So turning things around very quickly, and then they hung on for the rest of the game with that 2-goal cushion and did a great job.
Well, let's look at the ladder now. The NPL 2 firstly, and so North Geelong now jump up to 4th position on the ladder. Having said that, tonight Kingston City taking on Bulleen Lions as we speak. That game is going to be an interesting game, and potentially one or both of those teams could overtake the Warriors. So I guess a draw would be the best outcome in that game. But North Geelong doing pretty well, sitting in 4th position at the moment. Goulburn Valley Suns right on top with Langwarrin. Quite interesting. Good to see the regional teams doing well, but we'd rather North Geelong be on top as opposed to Goulburn Valley Suns. Division 3, moving along there. Preston Lions, geez, they're attracting crowds of 3,000 plus to their games, Steve. And last weekend's game against was it
Melbourne Victory NPL side?
Yeah, absolutely incredible scenes.
There's a stunning goal to win that game too. Just
did
the
you see
solitary goal, and the scenes are unbelievable.
Yeah, well, they're going to be a big club, no doubt about that. But Geelong are doing quite well actually. 2 wins from 3 games. I think they lost to Doveton. So this Friday night, I think they've got a big game coming up against. If I'm not mistaken, I think they. Let's go through the fixtures actually. If I can find that little graphic. No, I can't actually. I can't seem to find it. But I think
they've got Western United actually this weekend.
Western United, that's the team.
So that's 8:30 this Friday night, and of course Western United are playing all their home games away. It's a Western home game, but it's at Stead Park. So there you go, 8:30 this Friday night.
Yeah. Now, is that the reversed home ground, or just maybe Western United's ground at?
They don't have any home games at all. Western, they're playing every game on the road this season until they find a more permanent venue for their matches.
Fair enough. That makes a lot of sense.
A lot of travelling required.
Yeah. Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. Then,
I'm not sure if that means they have to put the nets up when they rock up at other teams' grounds. We'll have to get that confirmed by someone involved.
That might be the case. There we go. Oh, look, they've finally found that graphic. Yeah. So Western United taking on Geelong Soccer Club this Friday night at Stead Park, 8:30 p.m. game. That's a good time slot, actually. By that stage, you've either had something to eat, you've even popped out somewhere with the family, and then you can just come down to Stead Park and watch the game, but just make sure to rug up. Now, the NPL 2 clash between Moreland City and North Geelong Warriors, that's at Campbell Reserve on Saturday at 3 p.m. Should be a good game, actually. Moreland City are a good side. They held Brunswick City to 2-2, and at one stage they were 2-0 up. So, they're going to be a difficult side. There's no doubt about that. So, sounds good. Now, what else have we got that we let's move on to State 1.
Yeah, State 1 results, and shout-outs to our boys in the comments there. Santino and Mario said it was pretty cold there when they went up to Club Italia to watch Corio against the Stallions. Unfortunately, a tough fixture for Corio. They couldn't quite bring home any points. They lost that 1-0, so their first loss of the season there for Corio.
Yeah, so if we then move along now to...
State League 2 Northwest results, Geelong Rangers.
So Corio lost to Brimbank Stallions, the first one, first loss of the season, but they did quite well against a team that is really expected to do very, very well. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, there's no disgrace in that result, I don't think. No.
And then I guess if we
so Geelong Rangers, they had their first home game in 582 days on Saturday, and they unfortunately didn't get the result thereafter, with Hume United spoiling the party with a 1-0 away win at Myers Reserve.
Now, we'll talk to Brad Ower, the assistant coach of the Geelong Rangers. He'll be talking a little bit later on about that particular game. But look, I think all is not doom and gloom. In fact, I think the complete opposite, because if I'm not mistaken, in the first 3 games, the Rangers have blooded no less than 5 players. 5 players have made their debuts, and that is quite an incredible achievement, if you ask me. So Hume United, obviously, they've done quite well, 2 wins and 1 draw from their opening 3 games. So you're expecting that they're going to figure quite prominently up there. Rangers have now assumed a mid-table position. They're in 7th spot, 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 loss. Mind you, they'd recorded a win and a draw on the road, so that's a pretty darn good effort if you ask me. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in the show, Steve.
Yeah. So there you go. That's state 2 there, and Brenton Ray in the comments there. His team, I know not in the Geelong region, but Hoppers had a like the ultimate thrilling win 3 times, coming from behind and then saving a penalty with the last kick of the game to win. And we heard Brenton on Ed and Athos this morning on FNR's breakfast program, which was great to hear. Brenton on the airwaves this morning. Now, Bell Park, they have gone top of the league in State 4, which is fantastic news for the team from Batesford. And there's some footage of it here.
Yeah, there's some footage
North
here.
Melbourne Athletic.
Yeah, a great win away at the Flemington Road Reserve. 2 goals there by Josh Talev. We'll probably see some of that in action a little bit later on. This is a great against the run of play, deep inside their defensive half. And there's Talev on the ball. Close season recruit from, I guess he was Corio Soccer Club and previously at Geelong Soccer Club. So he scored a double. Johnny Luong, who made the move over from Barwon, he scored 1, and Nick Nugent as well.
Nick Nugent,
yeah. So there we go. There's some more footage. I think that may have been the 3rd goal, and there's a 4th goal coming up very, very shortly as well. So great to see the clubs providing some video footage, and that's absolutely fantastic to see.
Oh, look at that header! Simple as that. And landscape view as well. You'd be happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. Getting back to the results in the State 4 competition.
Golden Plains, they had a great result on the weekend. Both them and Spring Hills looking to pick up their first points of the season, and that was up at Caroline Springs. Golden Plains getting the points with the solitary goal of the game going to Moo Tai in that one. So great result, Golden Plains. That might be a bit of a springboard for them. Surf Coast, not so much luck. They hit the lead on 16 minutes with a goal through Mylton Bailey. And then it was Gisborne coming from behind to snatch the points there at Banyulwarri, 2-1. So not the outing that Surf Coast wanted, but they'll bounce back soon.
Yeah, no, that's right. They have started off rather badly, I suppose. But if we take a look at the ladder there in State 4, Bell Park on top. Now that's what we like to see. We love to see a Geelong team on top. So. Well done to Bell Park. Tony Hayes, the new coach up there, he's doing an incredible job. And he's managed to get some of the players from Geelong Soccer Club over there. Obviously, someone, a caliber of Josh Talev. Look, you lose a prolific goal scorer like Mio Marinovic, you need to replace him with someone who's just as prolific. And I tell you what, Josh Talev is that type of player. And look, I think he was a little bit disillusioned with NPL football. Wanted to sort of move away from the pressure, maybe move away from all of that. And certainly he did quite well at Corio for the short stint that he had there. But I think he's going to be a major revelation this year up at Bell Park. I think he's now scored 3 goals, if I'm not mistaken. Surf Coast, look, 1 win and 2 losses. They find themselves in 6th position, as do Golden Plains, who have also got 1 win and 2 losses. They're in 9th position. Now, you know what? As long as they can avoid those bottom 2 spots, that'll be good. But Surf Coast, a lot of pressure on the players there at Banyulwarri Reserve to perform. And now we do have some amazing new news, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But let's move on to State 5, Steve.
Yeah, so the best result from State 5 would be that Deakin Ducks one with that 3-1 win over Ballarat Soccer Club with Harry Scott scoring twice and Lucas Target on target as well. So Harry Scott moves to 4 goals in the league this season. And Deakin actually conceded the first goal of that game in the first minute. So similar to Geelong, they copped an early one and bounced back quite well. Lara United, a bit of a surprise loss. They'd been looking pretty good, but they went down 2-1 at home with the only goal they managed to conjure up from Pietro Volpi. So not the result they wanted there. Lara United, Surfside Waves, I think they're getting closer to getting a result. They only went down by a goal to nil, and it was from the penalty spot as well against Maidstone United. And Barwon didn't get the win that we expected as well against Balmoral, 0-0 there down at Reserve Road. So hopefully some better results in State 5 next round. But yeah, kudos to Deakin Ducks. They're flying along at the moment.
Yeah, let's take a look at the ladder now. State League 5. Geelong Wolves, they are going to be the team to beat. They are going to be very, very difficult to beat. They're I guess, do you use the term wonderfully perched on top if they're not a local team? Come on, Geelong. Clubs, there's four Geelong clubs in that division. We want a Geelong club to be up
I guess
the
we
top.
have got second, third, and fifth.
We have. That's exactly right. Deakin University Deakin Ducks looking really good in equal second spot. Harry Scott's been in fine form. I think he scored in the last 2 games.
All this season, plus a few in the cup earlier too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Barwon
Soccer Club, they dropped their first points of the season, but they were looking very good up until then. But we got some, like I said, we've got some incredible news. And what we're going to do is actually, we're going to play a exclusive video, and it is we're going to play that now. And I haven't even seen it. Put it this way: if this is hot property, this is hot stuff, Steve. Even I have not seen this footage. So let's play it and see what it's all about.
Mylton Bailey. I've come back to Barwon after talking to a few of the lads. They're loving it. The season's going really well for them so far. I played here last year in the FA Cup, made it really far. COVID obviously didn't help us out or anyone out. But yeah, I've come back because I want to see Barwon succeed. I love the club. The coach is brilliant. He loves the game. So passionate for the club. And I just want to try and help them out and do the best I can.
Well, there you have it. Wow. There you have it. Young Mylton Bailey, the striker who's a teenager who's got incredible potential, has tonight, it's official, has tonight, I guess, returned to Barwon. Is that the best way to describe it? He was setting the State League for world alight 2 years ago when he was playing with Surf Coast. A kid with promising future. I do believe that some NPL clubs in the region were trying to sign him. He ended up signing for Barwon. Then in the off-season decided to go back to Banyul Warrior Reserve. And now Coach Dale Harris from Barwon Soccer Club has absolutely pulled a rabbit out of a hat and has secured the signing of Mylton Bailey back to Barwon Soccer Club. That is big news, Steve. That is massive news.
I like it. They have a 0-0 on the weekend and they just go and bolster their firepower.
Incredible. Geez. Well, that would be amazing if Barwon can earn promotion and they're in the same division as Surf Coast next year. I think we could be seeing an incredible new rivalry forming in the south of the Barwon. And I tell you what, we do need that. We need the clubs to go up a level, to go up a notch. But how incredible is that? That is amazing news.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. It's all happening very quickly today, hasn't it?
And guess what? We are breaking it here on the Geelong Region Soccer News. A big shout out before we go on any further. Massive shout out to the Lara president, Paul Grisbeck, who has become our latest member of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Now, for those of you who are members, thank you very, very much. We've got about half a dozen members at the moment. But the most important thing that, apart from you're supporting this show that we're producing, you're providing also something really, really important, and that is knowing that a media organisation such as ours that is providing news and that is providing a platform for all of these clubs to promote themselves. Those members also every weekday receive an exclusive Geelong Daily Football News Bulletin as well. So they'll be obviously tomorrow's news won't be exclusive because we've broken it here tonight about young Mylton Bailey. But look, show your support, folks. Become a member of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's so important that we have your support. And there's the website address right down the bottom there, www.patreon.com/Geelong Region Soccer Show. Mate, it's incredible what's happening with all of these news. Steve, I think we're going to take a little bit of a break. And when we return, we're going to go through some more news that happened on the weekend. Nike FC Cup. The FFA Cup draw that was held earlier today, as well as the Nike FC Cup draw. And we'll also have a look at the Women's State League divisions or competitions that are starting this weekend. So, folks, don't go away. Hang around. It is the Geelong Region Soccer Show, episode 56. It's massive. But what we are about to show you now is a little bit of a promotion of a program that has started at the Leisuretime Centre. You can still join this program. It's called the Man v Fat Soccer Geelong League, and I am involved in this program as well. It's at the Leisuretime Centre. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's episode 56, and tonight's episode sponsor, Surdex Steel. For all your steel requirements, go visit Jason there at Surdex Steel, and it's all about Geelong Rangers tonight. We'll be talking to a few of the people from the Geelong Rangers, but and before that, Steve, let's turn our attention to the FFA Cup.
Yeah, so the draw took place today in the FFA Cup for the next round, and North Geelong from our region, they were in the hat, and they drew Keilor Park from State League 1. So probably about the only team in Victoria that wears purple that I'm aware of. That fixture will be confirmed sometime later this month. That will take place.
Yeah, so North Geelong defeated Peninsula Strikers over the Easter weekend 6-0. And Keilor Park, that is in Carayo's division in State League 1, they defeated Watsonia Heights 4-0. So that should be quite an interesting game. I believe those games will be played midweek. So It will be interesting to see. Well, North Geelong Warriors are the hosting club, but their lights are not conducive to playing NPL standard, as far as I know. The second pitch might be, but it's yet to be developed, fully developed. So it will be interesting to see where they will be playing those games. Will they be playing it at Stead Park? Will they play it at Hume Reserve? Or will they play it at somewhere else? not too sure, but that'll be interesting. So likely to take place either Tuesday or Wednesday, April 27 or April 28, or Tuesday and Wednesday, May 4 or May 5. Thank you, Brenton Ray, for providing that little bit of information. The Ray Man, he's always on the ball. He's always on the ball. Fantastic. So something to look forward to. Now let's turn our attention to the Nike FC Cup.
Yeah, so a couple of results from the weekend in the Nike FC Cup, and it was good news for Geelong Galaxy, who got a 5-1 home win over Old Zaverians with Michaela Steyer scoring 4 goals. And can we say friend of the show, recent guest at least anyway, M. Sutcliffe was also on the score sheet in that one. North Geelong bowed out of the competition when they went on the road to play Sky United, with Louisa Kump scoring the only goal for North Geelong.
Yeah, and earlier today we had the pairings as well, or the round 4 draw was conducted at Football Victoria headquarters.
Yeah,
and there we go. Galaxy United drew NPLW side Bulleen Lions. Galaxy United will be the home team in with regards to that. Calder United, or also known as the Western Uniteds female team, they will be taking on our own Lara United. So a tough draw for Lara United, taking on the might of the NPLW and Calder United. Calder United will be the home side on that occasion.
Yeah, so pretty tough fixtures there, Tonch.
Yeah.
Lara United drawing the current holders of the competition, and Galaxy drawing the runners-up of the 2019 NPLW Victoria Grand Final as well. So we've probably got the 2 toughest teams in the hat there that we've pulled out.
Absolutely. Now, I'm not too sure when those games will be played. Brenton, if you know, drop us, pop it in the comments section, and we'll put something up there. All right, now speaking of the women's competition, the state leagues kick off this weekend, and as does the newly created VPL Victorian Premier League Women's. That all kicks off this weekend. It's all happening, we don't have just NPL and state league and Geelong Region Community Leagues and the junior leagues. We've also got the women's state leagues. Let's go through some of those, Steve, some of those games.
Yep. So the new VPLW, which acts as the second tier below the NPLW now that has been formed, Geelong Galaxy will make their first foray into that, and they'll be playing Whitehorse United, and it's another home game for the Galaxy. So that's at 4 o'clock on, I believe that's, is that Saturday or Sunday? We'll
be on Sunday, yeah.
Sunday. Oh, sorry, Sunday. It says it up the top there. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Lara United, well, they're going to go to Brunswick, to Sumner Park there, just on the banks of the Merry Creek, and they're going to take on Brunswick Zebras in State League 2 Northwest, while in State League 3 West, North Geelong Warriors, and they have a fixture against, is that Westgate?
Yeah, I think that's a typo versus Surf Coast there. That shouldn't be there. It's Westgate versus North Geelong Warriors at Ardea Reserve earlier in the days at 1 p.m. So
1 p.m.
That will be interesting. The Warriors have done exceptionally well in recent weeks against State 1 opposition in the Nike FC Cup. So, that will be quite interesting. Brenton Ray, the newsman comes through with the goods. Look at that. Yeah. Nike FC Cup ties to be played Tuesday, May 11th or Wednesday, May 12th, and Tuesday, May 18th or Wednesday, May 19th. So there we go. There we've got the full details there, I suppose. So that's absolutely good. Great to see. Mate, that pretty much brings us to the end of our news desk, doesn't it? We've got.
Yeah. We probably should quickly mention as well, Tonch, we have got community football returning across Geelong this weekend, and we will probably talk more about it, I would say, when we have a little more time next Monday night, after there's been a full round of fixtures hopefully have taken place this weekend. It's excellent for all the players involved. Hope that everyone's excited.
There's been a lot of shuffling, and I guess it makes it really, really difficult, I guess, for the competition organisers and the folk involved with the competitions up at Football Victoria. Teams, and you can understand it. A lot of teams entering teams a lot of clubs entering teams because they've got suddenly an influx of players. So last minute they're entering teams, or they're pulling out teams because they don't have enough players. Or I know Geelong Rangers and, for example, Bell Park are now actively trying to recruit as many female players as possible. For Rangers, they're trying to get a second women's team up. Bell Park are trying to get a team up, full stop. So no doubt that will change, and who knows how that's going to change. But initially, the women's competition was going to include 7 teams. Now there's been a few teams and 8 teams in the second division. Now a few teams have pulled out. And I think they've got this one division of 12 teams, and I'm sure that is going to change. So it's pointless now talking about fixtures as far as the women's competition is concerned at the moment, because we probably won't know until a few more days closer to the weekend what that competition is going to look like. With the men, now I'm going to make a point here, Steve. The Division 1 men of the Geelong Region League has got 9 teams. Armstrong United, Barwon, Bell Park, Corio Bay, Drysdale, Elko Park Cardinals, FC Leopold, Geelong Rangers, and Surf Coast. Now, Division 2 has got 10 teams, and I believe Division 3 has got now 14 teams, meaning 33 men's teams. Now, include the 2 Surfside Waves teams that have that have now moved to the State League. We would have had 35 men's teams. I think that is an absolute record, if I'm not mistaken. So even though it seems to me that junior numbers have been decimated, the women's competition has been locally decimated. The men's, at least, is provided that one shining light, and there seems to be a massive number of teams entered in this year's competition. So that is great to see. At least something is looking positive.
Oh, a lot of positives out there, mate. There's many. Haven't got enough fingers to count them on. So
absolutely.
Looking forward to that. A lot of these players haven't kicked a ball in anger since September, maybe even August 2019. So people are going to be pretty. So there could be some sleepless nights come this Friday night, Saturday night for some of these
absolutely.
players.
And look, on behalf of all of the Geelong clubs in Geelong, if you are a player out there and you're umming and ahhing about registering and you're not really sure, do so as soon as possible, folks. Please. Do so as soon as possible, because it is absolutely, it must be so difficult for these club volunteers, because they are volunteers. Yeah. These administrators, these officials, and I'm sure Tim and Brad and some of these others from the Geelong Rangers will reiterate what I'm saying here. But, it's very hard to organise teams. It's very hard to organise coaches, team managers, and when a lot of these people are not registering or waiting to the last minute to register. And it is playing havoc with fixtures and teams and what you're not. So please, folks, if you're thinking of pulling on the boots this year, make sure you register, because, it is so important. I think that's it for the news desk.
Yep.
And
I think we might have some guests in the green room that have been patiently waiting, perhaps, do we?
Yeah, we do. And don't go away. We're going to come back very, very shortly after these few messages.
Surdex Steel is one of Australia's leading steel suppliers and processing companies. Based in Victoria, they operate 10 branches, including one right here in Geelong. Surdex Steel stocks more than 10,000 different steel products and offers one of the most extensive ranges of steel processing services. They also offer steel sales direct to the public, as well as daily local delivery. Trade inquiries are also welcome. Located at 156 Waddell Road in North Geelong, they're open Monday to Friday from 7:30am to 4:30pm. Surdex Steel, we can handle all your steel requirements, no matter how big or small.
Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's episode 56. It has been a massive show up until now. The numbers have been absolutely fantastic, by the way. So thank you to everyone that is tuning into tonight's show. And now, it's time, Steve, to get a bit of an insight into one club that is extremely well organised off the field, and a club that has got such a long history and a proud history in the Geelong region. And we're talking about the Geelong Rangers Football Club. And a big welcome to the show now. is the sponsorship and fundraising coordinator, Tim Santalucius. Tim, welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Thank you very much.
Now, it's thank you for joining us. A big shout out to Jason Van Beek from Surdeck Steel, who's sponsoring this week's program, and he has nominated Geelong Rangers as the club that he would like to be featured. So not just for Jason's benefit, but for all Rangers fans and everyone like that. Let's talk about sponsors. And you're the man that handles all the sponsors and the sponsorship up at Myers Reserve. In these tough times that clubs find themselves in now, tell us just how important is it to have good sponsors on board?
Well, notwithstanding what happened last season, which didn't really exist, all clubs still have overheads and expenses, particularly with the utilities and rents and so on.
Yep.
In season, of course, we've got players' costs, food costs, equipment costs, and then really importantly, for clubs to develop further, facilities costs, seating, club rooms, change rooms, scoreboard, bibs, balls, it just goes on and on.
Yeah. Steve?
Now, Tim, thanks for joining us. Steve here. It's never easy, I suppose, when you've got to chase up and try and raise money for any particular activity. What's the most challenging part of your role? And then perhaps what do you enjoy most about it at the moment there?
Well, first of all, probably to highlight Surdeck Steel. Surdeck Steel is a pre-existing sponsor of ours that have supported us, particularly our juniors. But this year they really stepped up to a substantial need of ours, which was to upgrade those coaches' boxes, which I'm sure most players in Geelong have hit their heads against at one time or another.
Yes.
So it was a great pleasure for me to take those things down, and only with the support of Surdeck Steel, who supplied us with the steel at cost and the metal that went into it, and a small grant from the City of Greater Geelong, were we able to build the new ones. But look, sponsorship is difficult because it means you have to approach people and basically ask for money for support for a good cause, community football, youth development, and so on. This goes for all soccer clubs. And as time goes on, it does become more and more difficult to ask people for money. But we've been fortunate this year. We've actually picked up 9 new sponsors so far. We've got another.
Sorry to cut you off, Tim.
Yep.
On the screen there, we've got some footage of Myers Reserve, and we can see those resplendent new coaching boxes there. And we also saw the asphalted car park as well. But sorry, mate, continue about the new sponsors.
We've managed to pick up 9 new sponsors. We're working on another dozen or so at this time. Probably the hardest thing is when you get a flat out no, we can't do it, or we don't want to do it. A case in point, I had one sponsor I went back 4 times to. And once, I guess I made him understand that it was as my reputation and the club's reputation on the line that we will support your business, that they did come on board and will make a point of directing people to that business. And especially after COVID-19, we're a big supporter of the small businesses, and that's what we're really going after.
Now, Tim, in years gone by, you'd often get, benevolent small business owners who are doing reasonably well in their business, giving more or less sponsorship as a form of donation and not really expecting much in return. You know, they pay for a sign on the outer, on the whatever, or maybe on the kit or something like that. Not really expecting much. Have sponsors or advertisers, have they changed much in what they're seeking from when they are approached to sponsor a club such as Rangers?
There's no doubt that every business would like to see a benefit from a sponsorship. And, you know, most of them will, yes, make a contribution and not really expect anything back. But this year we've actually come across an organisation called iSponsor. They are a Queensland-based business, and it is massive in Queensland and New South Wales and just breaking into Victoria. And the concept is simple. We as a club join iSponsor. We get all of our members, players and their families to join iSponsor,
yep.
And they support directly the over 100 retailers within that network of small businesses. And in exchange for that, each one of those small businesses will give a percentage of my purchase to our club. So there's a leaderboard, which the Rangers president did lead the first month, but not anymore. So there's an element of competition in that too. So, for example, you buy a bottle of wine or beer at BWS and last month they contributed 10% of your purchase to the club. Now, if you can imagine 400 members, 800 parents, maybe another couple of hundred friends and family, that's potentially 2,000 people that are doing an ordinary everyday purchase going back into the club, a percentage of it anyway. So that's probably the breaking sponsorship that we've come across. It's fantastic. But yes, a lot of people do expect some sort of return, but that particular sponsorship with our sponsor makes it easier for me because it's our members that do the job, do the work.
Very good. Now, that sounds like a great initiative. Tim, now we've talked a lot about external to the club fundraising, I suppose. What about inside the club fundraising? Is there, given that we've got a lot more, I suppose, freedoms this year, is there a lot of fundraising functions likely to take place out at Myers Reserve? And does the good old Freddo chocolate drive still run these days?
No, it doesn't, in a word. Within the club, we do have a number of functions throughout the year, but not really all of them benefit directly our club in so much that we support women's health issues. We also support a couple of other initiatives I won't really mention of tragedies that have happened in the past that, have happened through our club.
Yep.
But probably our biggest fundraiser at the club would be our canteen, and particularly we have a sponsor, Steam Pocket Foods, that cater and supply us with foods that we finish off or cook in the end, and that's really elevated the standard of food that comes from our canteen to more than just your chips, dim sims, and whatever. So that's been a big one for us.
Fantastic, and it's great to see Rangers are very innovative in many ways, in many facets, and that's something that's always impressed me about Rangers, and with regards to sponsorship and fundraising ideas as well. But in other elements of the club is one of the few clubs in Geelong, I believe, or that I'm aware of, that has actually embarked on strategic planning as well, having created its own strategic plan. And one of the things I guess that the club has also done well is apply for grants to improve the facilities because of the country championships that are going to be held there this year. Tell us a little bit more about that and how you're managing to get a lot of support from council or from various tiers of government as well with regards to hosting major events at the club.
Right. So for us, over the years, our committee's evolved and, various different people within the committee have roles. And eventually we've come across individuals that excel in those roles. Martin Brandwick pursues most of our grants and he's quite, I won't say aggressive, but he's persistent. And that's resulted in some great success. But by the same token, you can find Martin up at the club helping to put together those new coaches boxes. So we have a great army of volunteers. With regards to council, look, I guess eventually the council gets around to all clubs.
Yeah.
But it does take time and strategic planning is really important. We're at Myers Reserve, we're in a complex that includes football, cricket, netball, etc. So I think we are the only club within the reserve that has a strategic plan, and we've liaised with the other clubs to get their strategic plans together so that we can then go to a more formal facilities plan to council. But it's as a result of that and previous planning that we ended up with the car park, and we have had to nudge council along a little bit to support us, particularly with the country champs coming up.
Well, there's a very good friend of the show, Councillor Kylie Grisbeck, who was also on the show a couple of weeks ago, and in a recent post, and that was done, 3 weeks ago or so. Very excited for Geelong Rangers Soccer Club. Well done to President Lisa Brooks and her team. Lights are such an essential part of winter sport. And the Geelong Mayor, there in her posting, has revealed $350,000 of a lighting upgrade and expansion of Myers Reserve will enable Geelong Rangers Soccer Club players to train at night and will also attract new players to the side. Now, we will talk a little bit about this off air. Tim, tell us some of the plans of the lighting improvement and how that's going to now how that's going to help Rangers. And the users of ranges.
Certainly, there's no doubt that Kylie and the team of councillors that we've been speaking with have been very supportive of us and our initiatives, as well as a number of the officers that have helped us with other improvements in the area, footpaths, etc. But look, that particular grant will enable us to light up an area that I said earlier to you was generous to describe as any kind of a pitch or an oval. It is a paddock. It does have irrigation in it, but it doesn't have lights, and it's shared between the various clubs, but it's pretty rough. The lighting will enable us to move a lot of our mini-roos, etc., out into that area, because real estate for any sporting club is, a precious commodity. We don't have enough of it. And because our focus is very strong in junior development and training, we do need that space. So the lighting will make the world of difference for us, and to be able to provide more opportunities for younger players to engage in the sport.
Fantastic. Steve, any last questions for our guest?
No more from me, Tonch, but I'm sure Brad's in the green room getting ready to come on now. So thanks very much for your time tonight, Tim. And was there anyone else or any other things that you wanted to mention while you're on the air tonight?
Look, I need to thank you very much for the opportunity to speak about Geelong Rangers, and without services like yours, who knows where the sport would be. We need to keep on rolling and developing and growing and raising awareness in the community that soccer is a huge sport in this country, excuse my voice, and continues to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we'd like to think that voice breaking is you getting emotional. We're very emotional. It's a great sport that it is there. No, but Tim, all jokes aside, thank you very much for joining us. It's like I said, it's great to get an insight into any club for that matter, but a club that is so well run and so well structured like Geelong Rangers, and that can certainly a lot of other clubs can learn from. We thank you very much for providing that insight tonight.
You're very welcome.
Good on you.
Thanks, Tim.
Tim Santalucia, he is the sponsorship and fundraising coordinator at the Geelong Rangers Soccer Club. Without further ado, let's bring on Brad Ower. You did mention him, and there he is. Brad Ower, welcome to the program. How are you?
Good, thank you, Tonchi and Steve, and thanks for having me.
Now, on the weekend, I guess, the first loss suffered at the hands of State 2 opposition this year, Hume United. But nonetheless, it's not all doom and gloom. It's just one loss. But we're talking off air, and there's an incredible statistic that in the first 3 games, Rangers have blooded something like 5 new debutants. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. So Tim touched on it before about junior development, and that's something that we're really big on, and we clearly have a pathway from the under 16s and 18s to the reserves and development squad to the senior squad. So to have 5 players make their senior debut by round 3 is something that the coaches are really proud of, because they weren't gifted their games. They earned it through training and hard work, and the results have sped for themselves. Like Aiden Deandra, who came on 5 minutes in round 1, scored a crucial goal to put us 2-1 up against Moreland. And then Nathan Phillips, Ben Conn, Rory Donnellan and Josh Bertucci have all played their part. And I'm sure there'll be many more to come in the next 19 games. I can assure you of that.
There you go. A lot to be excited about on the field, Brad. So excellent news there with all those young players coming in. Now, off the field, you've got a really good coaching team put together of yourself, Steve Tillinger, Jono Perez. How are you guys enjoying the off-the-field side of things, and how did the pre-season go this year for the group?
Yeah, well, we have more. We have Ramon, our goalkeeping coach, and Dean Graham and Frank as well. So our coaching is... Our coaching group is very well supported, but most importantly, off the field, we are also, I guess, good friends. And so it's that support for one another that really helps us drive the standards for the players as well. So because we have a genuine care for the teams, but also them individually as players. So pretty big coaching structure, so to speak. But in terms of training, I guess it's felt like the longest pre-season since we've all been there. Steve and I took over 18 months ago, like with COVID. So, but finally happy to get round 1 underway. So, yeah, training has been really good since day 1, since Steve and I have been there since day 1.
Now, we will be talking to the captain of the senior men's team, Connor Redden, who is now waiting for us in the green room, along with Rachel Robertson as well, who's the captain of the women's team. So we'll get a good insight as to the on-field, I guess, of both those sides. But in the dressing room, you've got a lot of young players.
Yep.
And then you've got a lot of the more experienced players like Ronnie Clayson, Hayden Vandershies, Connor himself, and players like that. How important is the role that those older, experienced players have when it comes to, I guess, keeping the younger players on the right path, right track?
Well, crucial, and I can add 3 more names of Ross Trevor, Ryan Calder as well, and Connor you just mentioned as well. But really super important. It's like having 5 extra coaches on the field that can learn and guide these young men coming through. I mean, if you're playing in the back line, you get to learn off Ronnie Clayson, who has been a legend of the region. And so that experience they get on training and game day is invaluable. Like, you can't put a price on that. So it's that type of leadership from Hayden, Connor, Ross and Ryan that just helps nurture these young up-and-coming Rangers players. And the future is looking very bright, like in the brackets of 21 to 24-year-olds, like with Carlin and Max and Jack Hammonds, and then our younger kids coming through. The future is extremely positive for Geelong Rangers for many more years to come.
I'll tell you what, Steve, sorry, before I interrupt you,
mate.
and that was one of the things that Craig Fowler and I commented about on Saturday watching the North Geelong game versus Werribee City. And even in the Werribee City team had a couple of ex-Geelong products, Nemanja Spasojevic, Jesse Didlitzer. There's a couple of those ones as well. But the North Geelong team was filled with a lot of junior products. There was even players like Ryan Opperman, who wasn't playing on the day, the captain of North Geelong, who's an ex-Rangers player. It's just absolutely... I don't know. It's warm. It has this warm and fuzzy feeling when you're watching kids that you've seen, being brought up locally and teams playing local kids. And we go through the team lineups at Geelong Rangers, and to see kids as young as 15 getting a go in the senior lineup, mate, you guys really ought to be applauded for that, Brad.
Well, thanks, Tonchi. It's as I said, it's something that we're really proud of, because we have, and it's why it's such an attractive club to play for as a junior, and then also to coach, because you can just see the development coming through. And then as players in the under 16s, under 18s, like we have in the reserve squad, who are currently undefeated. You have Jack Holton, who's 15, Alex Todorowski, who's 16, and they're playing reserve grade football against senior men. So they're developing and learning at a fast track pace, I should say. And, it's that development that will see them come through the next generation as well. So the pipeline from anyone who's playing from under 11s, under 7s, can see there's a progression all the way through to our senior men team. So it is extremely exciting.
Now, on the weekend, Brad, the game against Hume United didn't go the way everyone had hoped it would for Rangers on the weekend. What's the approach with tackling, negative results with the younger players in the matches? Is it to try and focus on the positives and keep their confidence up for the next games against Westgate and Hoppers, for instance, that are coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the season's long. I mean, we're only 3 rounds into it. You always know there's going to be a dip in performance, like any team at any level, so. But the good thing with young kids nowadays, it's happened, they've learned it, then they move on and they're ready for the next one. So it's, in terms of learning, it's very, they understand what they did right, what they didn't do so well. But it's very quick to move on. Like, as soon as 5 o'clock on Saturday hits, our attention turns to Westgate, and then we focus on them this week, and then Hoppers Crossing after that. So in terms of development, they know where and what they need to do, and where we as coaches need to work on as well.
There's the fixtures coming up this weekend. As you mentioned, Westgate away on Saturday. Ardea Reserve is the venue for that. And then Brenton Ray, who is involved with Hoppers Crossing, he says exactly what you just said. Looking forward to the Anzac Day Eve, the British Derby clash, Geelong Rangers versus Hoppers Crossing at Myers Reserve on Saturday, April 24. Mate, that's going to be a massive day, that, won't it? So the next home game for Rangers, geez, that's going to be a huge one. I've been to a few of those games, Hoppers Crossing versus Rangers, and it always attracts a great crowd, but it also, on the field, it's certainly no holds barred. So it'll be absolutely fantastic to, if you're not doing anything on April the 24th, get up to Myers Reserve, and hopefully the weather will be a lot kinder than it was on Saturday. Must have been awful, was it?
It was a little bit chilly, but after, as Steve said, like with no games for a year, you would take wind and rain. After having a year of not doing what everyone loves, you'd play in snow at the moment. So I don't think there was not one person complaining, but you definitely should come up with the new facilities and fences and coaches box, and it's looking very sharp. Myers Reserve. The field was very, very nice quality on the weekend. So the more the merrier to come up to the next home game against Hoppers Crossing, the better.
Fantastic.
Excellent. That'd be Brad, good to get there. Can I ask one more question?
Absolutely,
Brad,
Steve.
How much of, it's probably the elephant in the room here with young players at the club, how much of an inspiration is the story of Angus Chapman to the young group there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Very much an inspiration. And he still mentioned it, around the club rooms and doing what he's doing at the moment for Barnsley. He scored 2 goals on the weekend. So I just think it's good for, the club in general, but also for him as Angus is a terrific young man. And I guess we could look on the bright side when he came back because of COVID and everything. We got a chance to meet him and train with him, and you could just see the potential. So, I wish him all the best. We follow his results closely on Twitter and Facebook each weekend, so see how he's doing well. So, but I guess it's a credit to the Chapman family in general. Yeah.
Yeah, look, when we talk about watching kids, doing so well, I mean, Angus was on our show last year, I think during the break, and it was just great to see. And he's got such a good attitude as well. He's a really down-to-earth kid, and and that's great to see. And I think that attitude as well, that grounding attitude, is so important. And I guess that's where having really good parents as well is so important. Brad, mate. Speaking of parents, you're a young parent. How many have you got now? 1 or 2 now?
One, with another one on its way in about a month.
So there you go.
Very busy soon. So
will Coach Steve Tillinger give you a paternity leave, or will actually Jono Perez is another one that's a young dad as well.
He is, yes. Jono and I and Ramon, all three dads. So we have our own dad group at Rangers, our dad club.
Dad club, yeah.
It's wonderful. So I've definitely got some paternity leave lined up, so Jono can fill the void there.
It's going to be called. It won't be Dad's Army. They were calling Troy Hardy and Connie and all those guys Dad's Army when they were playing in the Sunday League Rangers. But this is more like Daddy Daycare, isn't it? With all the young tackers running around. It's good to see. Big shout out to Troy Hardy and Scotty Davison, absolute legends of the club. I wonder if they're going to be pulling on the boots again in the Geelong Region comp. We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, Brad, all the best, not just for the football side of things, but also with the family side of things as well. And thank you very much for coming on the show tonight.
No worries, pleasure. Anytime. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
All the very, very best. And that was Brad Ower, the assistant coach there at Myers Reserve. Once again, a wonderful insight, Steve, into what is happening. And Kylie Chapman, ex-president and also mum of Angus, she's just popped up with the comments. The game between Hoppers Crossing is Rangers VIP Members Day up at Myers Reserve. Looking forward to seeing all of our supporters. Thank you, Kylie, for letting us know. That's a VIP. So, April 24th should be a big day. Yeah. So we're asking
we can get there. Yeah.
All Rangers fans and certainly all football supporters in the Geelong region, if your team is playing away on that particular day, do pop up to Myers Reserve, check out the new facilities, and also watch a real good game of football on the park. But speaking of games, let's quickly go through some of our fixtures, or some of the fixtures for this weekend in the state leagues, starting off with State 1.
Yeah, so Keilor Park, we mentioned earlier, who being drawn by North Geelong in the FA Cup. Well, they've got another Geelong assignment this weekend because Corio is hosting them at Hume Reserve at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Geelong Rangers travel to play Westgate, as we mentioned earlier. Golden Plains will look to continue their winning ways as they go to play. They will play Melbourne City at home at Bannockburn. That's the Melbourne City from Spotswood, of course. Bell Park, top of the league and flying. They've got Barnstoneworth United coming to town. Surf Coast off to play the West Side Strikers there at Taylor's Hill. And in State 5, Lara United, they're travelling to West Point, while Surfside Waves will be at home at Shell Reserve looking to get their first points of the season, while Barwon will be playing Wyndham FC at Victoria University. I think that's in Werribee there. Yep. And Deakin Ducks, they are hosting Balmoral looking to get another win. And who wouldn't put it past them to do just that?
Absolutely. Can Harry Scott score his third consecutive game as well? That would be quite interesting. But mate, we're really now we've gone past the hour mark. We are a little bit over time, but indeed we're going to now bring on our next guests, and it's we're going to bring them on together actually. So we've got the brother and sister team.
All screens going.
Yeah, Connor Redden. Firstly, he's going to be coming on, and we've also got Rachel Robertson. So looking forward. And there's Connor. First of all. And Rachel not far behind. Folks, first of all, thank you for joining us tonight and really appreciate you coming on. Ladies before gentlemen, Rachel, first of all to you. Must be exciting that the season is finally going to be getting off the ground this weekend. A little bit of an unknown factor because we still don't know how many teams and is going to make up the competition. What's the latest with regards to the Geelong Region Women's Competition?
How you going, guys? And thanks for inviting us on. The last I heard, it'll be one division. Mm-hmm. Not sure how many teams. I think our game time has changed a couple of times as well, but I guess we'll just go with the flow like we usually do and probably find out Thursday or Friday when our games actually begin. So, that's probably the best place we're in at the moment.
And it was a pretty good pre-season run in the Nike FC Cup. The girls did exceptionally well under the tutelage there of Mike Chapman, who's become a bit of a patron of the women's team up there at Myers Reserve. He seems to be doing really well. But some great results, all jokes aside, some fantastic results in the pre-season cup. You'll be really looking forward to carrying on some of that form into the league proper.
Absolutely. I think it'll be about 600 odd days since we last played a Geelong region fixture. So it's been great having that or not having that uncertainty the way that we did last season. So the girls are really looking forward to kicking the season off and getting into it.
Very good. And Connor, you've been patiently waiting there. So question for you, mate. What does it mean to you to be back playing the sport that you love this year and wearing the armband for the team that you love to play for as well in Rangers?
First of all, hey fellas. It's great to be back. Been a long time between drinks, so it's good to get out there and lead the boys. But it's hard to describe.
Now, Connor, we were speaking to Brad Ower just before. You were in the green room, so you could have listened to the conversation. And he was saying how important it is for having you experienced guys like mentoring some of the younger players there. Does it ever get to a stage where, the younger players, they're very confident, maybe sometimes uber confident. They don't want to listen to the coaches, so they listen to you more experienced players, and you as captain become a little bit more important and a little bit more, what's the word, as far as influential?
No, not really. They don't listen to anyone, those boys. So, they're good. We've got a good group. Everyone respects each other, young and old. So, it's a really good mix. Sometimes you can go sort of, old versus young, but we all get along well. So, and the boys do listen sometimes. So,
do tell us a bit about the banter or the atmosphere inside the change rooms. And Rachel will ask you this as well with the girls as well. But what do you do to get that team spirit up? What do you do to do you go out together for dinners? Do you go out for bowling or something like that? What do you do to keep that spirit in the dressing room alive and well?
Keeping it PG, probably we like to
Another 20 minutes.
It's only 8:10. Yeah.
I don't really know. I guess we all sort of just like to have fun, and whether it's in the rondos before training or just the music on before training or the games. I don't know. It's a good vibe, and we actually went away on a camp together in the pre-season to Hall's Gap, and I think that really sort of galvanised the group, and we learned a few things about each other and and ourselves, I guess. And I think that's probably what's held us in good stead and will keep us, going this year, is just spending that sort of weekend together. And yeah.
Fantastic. What about Rachel? What about in the women's dressing rooms? Is it sort of similar to that, or is it a completely different vibe? And is it a completely different kind of approach to way, putting the football aside, just the approach to keeping that team spirit and camaraderie?
It's tough with Rangers. I still feel I'm finding my feet with this team because I haven't actually played a game for them yet. But yeah, the girls bring a great energy. I often feel very old when I'm there at training because I probably am one of the oldest there. But you're sharing stories of their weekends and things they've done. It does make you laugh, but it also makes you feel old as well and want to time travel. But they're really excited. They're really enthusiastic. So it's a great place to be. I think, a few of them were up at the game on Saturday watching the men, and some of them were going out for dinner afterwards. So just simple things like that to keep the group together.
Absolutely.
That's probably a good question for each of you. After a good win, like for instance, I know the guys got the win in round 1 over Moreland United, and the women's team did well in the cup competition as well. Who celebrates the hardest? Is it the younger players or the older players in your squads? Rachel, you can go first if you like.
I'd probably say, probably the younger, I guess. That's just, gut feeling. But depends on the circumstance, I think. If you've won a big game or a final or something like that, it's hard not to go out and celebrate and have a good time.
And Connor?
No, we're all in bed by 8 o'clock with a cup of tea. No, it'd definitely be majority of the young guys, but a few of the older guys, one in particular, probably can hold his own. So
Can we name names?
I won't name names. Yeah, Ronnie Clayson.
Ronnie Clayson, he always has to pop up, no matter what.
He's been mentioned in the comments quite a bit tonight as well.
Yeah, so that'll be a fine for him.
Now, Connor, we know why you're being very diplomatic, and we know why you're being very cagey when it comes to making these, answering these questions. It's because Mum Dina is listening and tuning into the show, and she actually says, "I am incredibly proud of our children who will captain the Geelong Rangers senior teams for 2021. We began our journey with Rangers when Connor was 6. We look forward to the 2021 season and the progress of football in 2021 in the Geelong region." Big shout out to Dina Redden, who has been heavily involved in football, particularly women's football, in years gone by. But guys, first of all, Rachel, to you, Mum, Dina, Dad, Peter, they must be like a real inspiration to you, particularly with regards to the women's team.
I think so. I think because Mum grew up with football herself, supporting Chelsea and growing up in West London, she was a bit of an influence and encouraged us to play. I guess I was late in comparison to Connor, but just as always, football has always been on in the house, and having that influence that way.
And Connor, sorry, just one question.
I think I was going to ask the same question that you're about to ask. I'm going to guess what it is. Connor, you've been there since you were around 6 years old. Yep. What are your memories of when you first got to Myers Reserve back in the day?
Hard to, It's a long time ago. I have been to a few other clubs since and have wound up back at Rangers. But funnily enough, one of my first memories was Steve Tillinger coaching me. I think he might have been my first coach at Rangers. So we've come full circle. So yeah, we often sort of talk about it, even just Steve and I personally. But probably Steve. Even then, my mum coaching, I think either under 7s to under 9s. And I guess, I don't know, Billy Muir, even watching Ronnie Clayson, Scott Davidson, Troy Hardy. those sort of legends, they're probably my first and fondest memories. So yeah, there's probably too many to sort of think of.
Well, there's definitely a Back to the Future headline there for some point in this season with you and Steve involved again this year. Tonch.
Yeah, I was going to say now, Connor, first of all to you, intentions for this year, or goals, I suppose, for the team this year. Where are you hoping to finish? Obviously, taking into account you've got a very young squad. Inexperience often leads to inconsistency. But having said that, with a couple of the more experienced heads there as well, realistically, what can we expect? Can we expect a top 2 finish in State 1 football at Myers Reserve next year? Or are you looking at just surviving the cut? And what are the plans? What are the ambitions this year?
No, obviously to finish as high as possible. After witnessing, in the first 3 rounds, the sort of level we're thereabouts. Even to be competing with Hume on the weekend, and we know ourselves, we probably didn't play to our best, but to still be in the game with such a young squad and inexperienced squad is it's really confidence building, because if we can sort of do that on our off days, and when we finally get it all on all gears, all cylinders working, we could do some scary things this year, I think. So I believe personally we could finish top 2, no doubt.
Fantastic. Let's hope.
I like that confidence, Connor.
Yeah,
that's
I do
good.
too. Absolutely. Yeah. Rachel, what about yourself? Like we said at the top of the show, it's hard to really, I guess, determine what the quality is going to be like of the women's competition this year. But Rangers have always been a traditional powerhouse of the local league in the last few years. Is there a lot of pressure there to once again perform like you did 2 years ago? What's the thinking in the Rangers change rooms?
I think so. I think once you taste success, you want more of it. And the girls are pretty keen to go all the way again. Previously at Barwon, I used to love playing Rangers because they were so good and because they'd push you, and it was a great team to play. You knew you were up against the best. So if you could compete with the best, then you're doing well. So really looking forward to just doing our best and playing teams, Deakin, North Geelong, and other teams like that as well. So should be a good one.
I guess Deakin and North Geelong, although North Geelong have moved up to the state league, they are still fielding a team. But Deakin, the big rivals, the traditional rivals, they'll be the ones that we'll be looking forward to those games, won't we? Oh,
for sure. And I think we've got them this week, first game up at 5:00. So it'll be a real test to see where both teams are at, and then hopefully we can come away with the win.
And that game, 5:00 on Saturday.
At this stage.
At this stage, at home or away?
I think it's at home. I just had the fixture up, but the last time I checked, it was at home.
I will keep an eye on the socials, Rangers fans, and get along to the game wherever it may take place in the end.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, guys, wishing you all the very, very best. Now, we'll leave the last word to Stephen. Stephen Redden says, well done, Rachel and Connor. Hope you play a few games so Auntie Fran and I can come and see you. So it's a
real family affair tonight, isn't
it? Geez.
Why is Connor sitting on the floor? A story there?
He's probably stretching his hamstrings out, I reckon.
Yeah, well, we've already broken one bit of exclusive news tonight. Are we going to break another one? We won't talk about injuries. No, that's not injuries. Guys, all jokes aside, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. All the very, very best for the senior men's and the senior women's team up at Geelong Rangers for season 2021.
Thanks very much.
Guys.
All the very, very best. We look forward to hearing and seeing more from the Geelong Rangers this year. It is going to indeed be an interesting year and an exciting year for that matter, Steve. Mate, that brings us to the end of our show. It should be quite a fantastic. Well, it's going to be a fantastic weekend because we've got football back, and as Rachel said, 600 days. My Lord, 600 days since a local game was played, so well overdue, and I personally cannot wait for this weekend.
Good stuff. And we've learned a lot about Rangers tonight. I must say, I don't get up to Myers Reserve quite as much as I'd like to, but it sounds like the next edition might need to be a creche up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, next week's show is going to be another fantastic one. We announced earlier tonight on the Geelong Region Soccer News Facebook page that Elephant and Castle are the sponsors of next week's show, and they have nominated, predictably, Corio Soccer Club to be the focus. And that's another club I'm really, really looking forward to finding a little bit more about, because there's some great things happening at Corio Soccer Club. And they've got a game on this weekend, and hopefully they can also pull a win, and then we will be able to have some footage, even maybe some goal scoring footage like we had of Bell Park earlier tonight. So fantastic stuff happening. May your team may your team do really well this weekend wherever they are. And mate, what are you going to do this weekend? Any games that you're going to be commentating?
Well, I've almost thought out from the scaffold experience on Saturday night at Altona Magic, which was, at least it was a thrilling finish to warm things up. I don't know at this stage yet, mate. Too early in the week. Stay tuned. Watch this space. No worries, mate. Thank you very much for being a part of tonight's show. Thank you, Tom.
We look forward to having your company again next week, next Monday night. But before that, this Friday night at 6 p.m. on the Football Out West show, a very, very, very special George Cross themed episode. So we'd love to have your company then. Until then, goodbye.
Surdex Steel is one of Australia's